right, welcome to Imperial Advisor episode 44. We had hoped you would have been able to get this out on a Twitch stream, but we're still experiencing a few technical problems. So we're going to go straight up to record and put this up onto YouTube as soon as we can. So we are just off of the FFG live stream, which I have to say I thought was a lot of fun, especially because they were previewing all of these cards we hadn't seen before. We got to see a lot of the new Unicorn pack, a lot of the new Crane pack, and we also got to see a couple of extra cards that we hadn't seen before we got to see the new pack for the start of the next cycle. So let's quickly go back over what we've been up to for the last 2 weeks, and apologies to the two guys who've had to been through this already. Eoin, we'll start with you. You've been gone for a bit. Would you like to remind us all what you've been up to over the last 2 weeks?
I've been doing a leadership course. Also, I helped run the Kodai down in Cork.
Oh, yes.
Which two things. A leadership course has taught me how to arrange chairs properly, and the Kodai taught me the importance of timing and possibly getting itemized bills before things arrive rather than afterwards.
Wise words. These are important lessons to have learned. And
you gotta have your logistics.
Yeah. And Justin, how have you been? You obviously did quite well at the Cork Kodai yourself.
Yeah, I did all right. Made it to top 8 where I ran into Jose. We had a great game. Went down to time, down to the wire. I lost one of my let goes to an upholding authority early in the game. Lost another one to a Shrine Maiden, which put me on something of a timer and something of the back foot. And yeah, Tadaka turned up on his side and wrecked my face on the final turn. So great game. It was a pleasure to lose to him.
And that's even quite modest, because as I hear it, it went down to tiebreakers with equal points and was decided on who actually won the coin flip at the start, right?
Yes, I managed to lose a game on a dice roll that I made before the game was even played. Absolutely. So on the final turn, his Tadaka turned up, my Kanjo turned up, I had the favor. At the end of the turn, he'd broken 3 provinces, I'd broken 2 and had higher honor. I'd also spent the favor on Kanjo. We were tied on tiebreaker points completely. We were on 6 all. And so it went down to the final tiebreaker, which was the dice roll at the start of the game to decide who was going to be first player, which in my adolescent awkwardness, I won. And that's what doomed me. So it was a fantastically cool way to go out.
And respectable, losing to the eventual winner on a dice roll.
Yeah, absolutely acceptable. Like, I mean, it's Phoenix. It's almost a mirror match. So those games are almost a coin flip in themselves. But yeah, it was a brilliant game, and the games all weekend were super competitive. Just played against lovely people every single round. It was really enjoyable. Really reminded me why I love Five Rings. So I had a great time.
Awesome. And obviously by now we've got all the spoilers out for Children of the Empire. So there was the last few cards. I think it was about 10 or 15 cards that we had yet to see, but we've now got them out. For some people, they will have them in their hands by now. Unfortunately, not us over in Europe. I think we're still expecting it to be another week before that hits down. And we have the article up. So the article review that we have has gone up on the website. So I've gone through all the different cards, throwing out all of my totally uneducated and unpracticed opinions on all of them. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please do give that a read through and tell me where I went wrong. It is the only way I'll improve. Eoin, after having seen the entire set, what are your thoughts on it?
I took a read through your article today, Baz, in the short amount of free time I had. So yeah, the crab are they're mostly a little depressing. They're okay. They're not usually dire, but they're not very good for the most part. I like the Suki Procurer, who is at least at a 2/2 for 2. Not something that's really available to crab, and he makes attachments cheaper. There's possibly a Berserker deck with him that you're playing more expensive attachments and he makes them cheaper. or basically you play in some expensive events and he makes them cheaper. So it's always handy to have kind of one fate you can pop out relatively cheaply, and he's zero glory, so he's not going to lose anything from being dishonored.
Yeah,
that's good, and he's another courtier. And if what they were saying about the upcoming set is true, hey, that's another courtier. Siege Commander is at least big, but I don't think he's going to see any play. Okay. Yakimo's good. I think Yakimo will see some play. He's not as good as Hitomi.
So this is what came up in some of the reviews. Actually, it's worth mentioning that the Midwest Wardens guys got a couple of Discord players together and have their own review up there, which is worth reading through for a different perspective. But one of the points that was made in that particular article was that the current Crab deck is very focused on restricting your honor and being quite tight on your honor. So it often ends up on more honor than its opponent, which obviously means that you can't use Yakimo. So
I think those people are not playing enough assassinations.
So assassinate more. Okay, yeah, that'll get the job done.
They're all playing like one assassination, keep people out. Three of them. No one expects that.
Will this up the desirability of your Maho spell?
I've always liked that spell. Spreading the darkness.
Spreading the darkness. Yeah.
You could get. In fact, if you went to the Coda, you could get yourself some nice full bleeds of that. Which I think that we rated it very strongly. It hasn't turned out to be that strong, but I think that's because it's not seeing much play. Because honestly, I'm looking at some of the duels and stuff coming up, and having a guy who you plus forward and can be targeted with stuff could be really good in kind of a clutch conflict. Because I think the strongest card in this set is Defend Your Honor, particularly for Crab. And having a guy who's on a chunky amount of military strength and is possibly untargetable, or effectively untargetable, and going, okay, I'm going to do this instead, and you're like, no, that makes life very hard for your opponent. Very, very hard. So there is some play there. There are cards in this set for Crab, but they're not exactly what you'd think.
Yeah, there's some cool options, but maybe not necessarily a great set for Crab. I think Smuggling Deal is probably one of their best cards, but not necessarily for Crab.
Yeah, not necessarily at all. I was looking at True Strike Kenjutsu because there will be a time if I was playing Seeker, I'd play True Strike Kenjutsu and I'd play the card that brings back a weapon for cheap, and I'd play a lot of the expensive weapons and see where that took me. I think it's a deck worth trying. And then you play the Hone Nodachi and Fallen Battle, and you make life very unpleasant for and that's a way to play where you make life very unpleasant for people, because sometimes people defend with big guys or guys they can use again, and you're just like, well, actually, I'm going to kill that guy now because frankly he's really annoying me.
Well, no one's going to expect it anyway.
Yeah, and there's virtue to that, I think. The other card that I find kind of funny is I saw some people complaining that the Kujira's Hireling was terrible. The card designed by the first 2007 world champion Samuel Benes. Yeah, complaining about it. And I was like, yeah, I remember, it was a waste of a champion design. It's not really exciting or busted. And I was like, I remember a lot of those champion design cards and Netrunner being do this thing, also draw 2 cards and gain some money, because any card is made better by stapling draw card and or gain money on it. So I'm refreshed to see a card that's perhaps not super competitive out of coming out of the mind of a great player.
Yeah. It is super flavorful and directly ties into the actual story choice he got to make, because it was at his recommendation that Koanen was not just butchered by Suko, and instead they went on to find out what was going on. But it was these guys. It was Kujiro's hirelings, this Ronin crew, who've appeared on a few cards, and they've got a number of quotes in the RPG book that's quite cool. So it all linked in. So yeah, I'd definitely be interested with maybe asking Sam what the design process was like, how much free reign did he get, or was he kind of tied into certain elements? But it's certainly an interesting card. Yeah, not a super powerful card, but I don't know. I think it could see some play. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Justin, for yourself, now you've had a chance to look at the entire pack. Is there anything that kind of strikes out to you?
I think overall it looks like it's a set that's experimenting with several new mechanics without taking too many risks and blowing the game up inadvertently by just breaking something. So we've got quite a bit of exploration of the dueling space, which is great to see. It's thematically core to the entire setting. Obviously, Dragon and Crane are the two clans kind of reaping the benefits most there. We've got Composure, which is an attempt to
rein in that bid 5 meta.
Rein in the bid 5 meta. I'm not sure it's necessarily going to succeed at that. Certainly, I think we would need to see more Composure characters. I think you probably have to have a critical percentage of your deck being Composure characters before the trade-off becomes worth it, and before it actually becomes a consideration for both players. But that's also fine. That's something that can be built on, and those numbers can be increased in the future. Other things, it's kind of nice to see a good Water province and a good Earth province. Yeah. Like Midnight Revels is going to see an awful lot of play. Certain clans are going to hate it. Phoenix aren't going to like it particularly much because Dragon and Phoenix do like their 4 and 5 cost characters an awful lot.
And Tyler was saying that the design for that was a direct response to the kind of perception of a tower meta, and that this was a card to make towers cautious, as it were.
Yeah, I mean that works up to a point, but Dragon are still going to put 3 Fate on Miramoto Raitsugu and then put every attachment on him, and he's never going to be touched by Rebels, which probably shouldn't be. So yeah, if it's targeted tower meta, I'm not sure it's a great answer, but it's certainly a significant card that's going to see a lot of play. Yeah. And vassal fields, like Earth provinces are still, upholding authority aside, Earth provinces are still pretty poor for the most part, but vassal fields is potentially devastating if you stumble into it. It can completely change the complexion of an entire turn. If you're the first player, you wander into this and you lose your only fate, you could really be on the receiving end of a savage beatdown for the rest of that turn. And it may open up deck types that aggressively target an opponent's fate. I've no idea if they're any good, but a Phoenix deck that's running things like Vassal Fields, running Meditations, running K-Day, running Aegina, running Fearsome Mystic could really, really aggressively target an opponent's fate and just bleed them horribly every time they do anything. So yeah, it's really interesting to see. So that's definitely a plus.
Do you think any of the neutrals, the big neutrals, Tuturi
the
and
Emperor.
Hante, yeah,
the Emperor, I don't think Tuturi's all that. He's fine, but I just think he's a bit awkward in terms of you have to have the favor, and then you have to be winning before you activate him, and then there's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so he's just awkward enough that I'm not sure he's quite there. The Emperor, however, could be the real deal. I'm not sure. He's super expensive and could just blow up if you somehow lose the favor. But he's tremendously powerful. He exerts such an amount of board control that if you can get it down.
Once you have it in play due to a 6 glory, unlikely to lose the favor, unless, of course, you're facing up against
Scorpion.
Scorpion, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Scorpion will... can potentially take from you. So yeah, but apart from that, once he gets down, he's quite the force. And if you've got Satoshi, digging up either more Satoshis or more Emperors or Karada or Kanjo, that's a really impressive suite of Imperial cards.
Yeah.
To be digging through. So again, in terms of Phoenix, there's very possibly an Asawa Morisato deck there. Asawa Morisato should guarantee the favor more often than not. You can play a suite of highly defensive provinces Things that you can play, like things like Santoku Seido. You can play Kuroi Mori. Just a bunch of provinces that are very, very hard to take. And yeah, you get the favor. You get the Emperor into play, using Satoshi to dig for him. You're probably playing a keeper role, just to maximum, basically just to play keeper initiative to maximize your value from Satoshi. And yeah, you just use the Emperor to control the board, and then you just do kind of Phoenix things with the rest of your kind of cash and available mechanics. So there could be something there. Yeah, so the Emperor definitely. I mean, I've no idea if he's going to be good, but if there is going to be an amazing card in the set, there's a strong chance it's him. And apart from that, the 4-cost uniques that each clan get, they vary a bit in power. Like Lion and Scorpion are probably on the lower side, but for the most part, they're at least decent, and some are incredible. So yeah, and then a bit of a mixed bag in between for the other clans. Yeah, I think everybody gets a little something, but it feels very much like a set it feels like quite a cautious set that's just spreading out the kind of the occupied design space just a little bit, kind of testing the waters, and it's a set that can be built on in future releases.
Yeah, one of the things I always liked about Elf of War is with regards to dueling in the setting, because how it affects everything. Because I once heard it described as, right, the legal system in Rakugan is you have an interpretation of the law, your opponent has an interpretation of the law. At that point, you draw 3-foot-long razors and have a fight about it.
Okay.
Don't like that system of legal things? We've got a guy with a 3-foot razor who's going to have a worthy about it. By the way, there are several people dedicated to being really good at 3-foot-long razors. So let's, it's a marvelous system for maintaining control of setting. Got a problem with it? Take it up with the law. What's the law? These guys really good at cutting people in half with a sword. It's basically the Old West, but genteel. It's marvelous. And I do like having the flavor of duels in the game. And it's good to see they're putting in both political and military duels, so everybody can have a bit of fun.
Yeah, because in the old game it was very much... dueling was always focused around one stat primarily. Whereas they were definitely getting a good spread around, so there's kind of different focuses, different approaches. I quite like the way they've got that line duel set up, actually, where it is based on base skill rather than anything else, which is something that the line have a bit of an edge with way of the line. And then, if you read through the article, you'll see I've got a couple of opinions and comments on dueling, namely that there are different ways to duel. Everyone seems to be a little bit overly focused on bully dueling, but this new set opens up a lot of different options, especially in win-win scenarios. So, for example, with Tashimoko, after the Crane issued that duel, there's 2 ways it can go. Either the Crane are going to get a bunch of honor, or that province is going to be saved. That military is going to get cancelled. So it's a win-win for the Crane. And there's a lot of scenarios like that you can kind of see in the new set. So it's definitely showing a different approach. And actually, just talking about the set overall, I'm really, really interested in Miyamoto's Daisho, which isn't something that a lot of other people have kind of talked about. And I'm super interested in it because it guarantees the dragon composure. So I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to play Omen and Warm Welcome, I think it is, and all these other cards that previously have been basically unplayable because you couldn't guarantee being lower. But with the Miyamoto's Daisho, because they can't bid 1 and you can, you're guaranteed to get composure regardless of what the duel's about or whether you win or not, which is super, super cool. All right, and that's me. Those are my thoughts. Obviously, there's a full article for people to get through and get into if they want. Okay, so the next thing I figured we should do is have a kind of quick look over some of the cards that appeared on the stream. There was some fun stuff in there. Just gonna see if I can quickly click over to some of the cards we got. All right, so you guys can't see what I can see, but I've got Shinjo Haruko here. So this was the 3-cost conflict character for Unicorn. It's 3 military, 2 politics, 1 glory. It's a Bushi, a cavalry. Action during a conflict in which this character is participating, choose an honored character and move that character into the conflict. So this is a unique character, 3 cost, and it lets you move an honored character, move an honored character into the conflict. So you can use that ability to move your opponent's honored characters into conflict.
Yep. It is Harpoon for honored people,
That's
or
cool.
you can use to pull your own guy in.
Yeah.
And she's conflict, and she is Shono's big sister.
Yes, which was kind of cool. That for most games you wouldn't care, but with L5R it's always nice to know those little extra story details. It's super funky. So I don't know. I mean, there are some 3-cost characters out there. They don't often see a lot of play unless they're super powerful. This does feel like it fits well into the Battle Maiden deck. I mean, the Battle Maiden decks are all about honoring things, surely.
Yeah. You might see, actually, because she's conflict, I can see her occasionally slotting into some Crane decks. So you can go play 2 copies of her, and then, I can play her in, then harpoon somebody else in. Harpoon one of the other guys in.
Yeah. And that's 3 influence, so it is steep enough.
Yeah.
But there certainly are options. Okay, so this is Shiro Shinjo, which we may as well cover. We've already seen this one. This is no surprise. I'm not sure we've had a chance to talk about it. But the game that we did see between Tyler and Andrew wasn't really a competitive game. It was more of a kind of, let's get some spoilers out there. I'm not even sure if poor Andrew had played L5R before. He kept readying cards rather than unbowing them and stuff like this. So I think he's really a Game of Thrones player. But I mean, that was fine. The entire purpose was actually to actually get those cards out. Do you think Shiro Shinjo had much of an effect?
He got rapidly into so much difficulty with Daidoji Uji that I don't think whatever economic edge he was eking out was sufficient.
No.
Whatever he had was probably negated by Uji. It's an interesting box. More Fate is always interesting. The 6 of the first turn sings a little. I'm not sure what it's doing. It really wants to reveal all the provinces early and then start having an economic edge. Tough. Games of war can be 3 to 5 turns pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you might. Technically, you could see all 4 of your opponent's provinces in the first turn. Technically, with the right cards.
Yeah, you could push for it.
Yeah, not sure that'd always be worth it, but you could do it. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we saw, they've got cards there to reveal extra provinces, and hey, you can see provinces, and then, maybe make some decisions. It's interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might have a deck in it. I think their second stronghold is the strongest stronghold. So Hero Ishitoshi or whatever it is. I think that's still their best option, but there might be a deck there.
Okay. So some of the new cards we did see for Unicorn in there, we had the Khan's Ordu. So this was a fire province. It was 4 province strength, and it was reaction after this province is revealed. If the current conflict is political, switch to conflict type. Each conflict declared this phase is military instead of its normal type. So, Justin, what do you think of this card?
Well, it'll make the Unicorn happy. It's a pretty crazy. It's a potentially crazy effect. I mean, obviously, it's got interactions with Hisumari Toride, because now all your conflicts are military, so you've got greater chances of triggering the stronghold ability and getting another military conflict. It can mess people up pretty badly. Again, I mean, obviously the ability to switch conflict type is fine. I mean, it can be pretty significant. It can have significant tempo implications. And if you are a deck that is heavily built around dominating military, then obviously it gives you a pretty good defensive advantage, which is an area that Unicorn really do lack. They are pretty poor defensively, while being fantastic on the offense.
Yeah.
So so that's another kind of wrinkle to it. Yeah, in terms of, you're asking yourself, what province does this replace? And I don't think there are any critical fire provinces that Unicorn plays, so it's pretty much a free inclusion for them should they want to. So yeah, I think it's I think it's got quite a bit going for it.
This is an option they have with Border Keep as well. So if they wanted to, they could
flip it.
50-50 chance that the first province hits is going to basically turn all of the conflicts for the phase into military, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to know whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for you. But that said, I mean, it's still you've got a higher chance of being able to trigger it, which makes it more consistent. And more consistent effects are effects that you can build around more effectively. Yeah. So yeah. It's and it's really interesting and very, very flavorful as well. I mean, they're doing a great job in terms of developing a unique flavor for the Unicorn. So yeah, maybe being the whipping boy for about a year is starting to yield rewards.
So the next one has already been spoiled. It was the curved blade. So I think this might have been one that was revealed at Madrid. So nice and simple. 0 cost, +1 military, +0 political attachment. Weapon Gaijin attached to a unicorn character. So it's pretty much only for unicorn. It is restricted. When attached character is attacking, it gets an additional +2. So simple, effective.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Seems like an easy inclusion into the unicorn deck.
Automatic 3 of.
Okay, not much more to say about that one. Hard to argue with. So Shinju Kaiora is not in this pack. It's actually coming on a little bit later. So just to have a quick look at it as well, just because we're going through all the unicorn cards first. It is a 4-cost unique. It's got 4 military, 2 political, 1 glory. It is Bushi cavalry. It has disguised cavalry, which we'll get into a little bit later. And then action during a conflict in which this character is participating. Switch the contested ring with a ring in the unclaimed ring pool. The attacking player gains all fate on that ring. Retain the ring's conflict type. So during a conflict in which this character is participating, switch the contested ring with a ring in the unclaimed ring pool. So there's 2 ways you can play this, I guess. You can attack, get a bunch of fate off a ring, then use this ability to switch in another ring, get more fate off it. Or you can use it on the defense to switch your opponent's ring into another one that you're not interested in, or in which you're happy for them to resolve, if that's the case. Any thoughts? Seems a bit of a strange inclusion.
The disguise trait is what makes him, which was explained by Tyler on the stream and has been explained further in the article, which is just up. So what happens is, to activate, you can't play a disguise by using the disguise during the dynasty phase. You can play him normally, but if you have a non-unique cavalry card in play, you can discard that card from play and put this card into play as an action outside the dynasty phase. They come into play and they take all of the fate, status tokens, and attachments on the discarded character and put them onto them, revealing themselves as that character. Yeah. They don't maintain bowed status, so you can discard a bowed, non-unique, and get this disguised character ready. So it's actually a pretty interesting economic edge. So that 4 cost is actually probably going to be lower. Could be 2, could be 1, could be free, depending on what's going on. And that's economic value, particularly in this environment, and particularly as a way to possibly keep around a key attachment.
Well, but one of the rubs is, while it will straighten effectively the character, because you're replacing a bad character with an unbad character and taking all the attachments and stuff, you're not able to put extra fate on it. No,
but you'll keep the fate that's on it.
True. So that character isn't going to stay around longer, but it will change what it is. With this in mind, with just the general keyword or ability, in mind, would you consider, turn one, putting a bunch of fate onto a 1 or 2 cost character?
No.
If you're really confident your opponent wasn't playing Assassination, if I get a really big smile when you do it, you probably messed up.
So you've got to be replacing a large character, which means you get a big discount, I guess, but it's certainly an interesting one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an option that you have on board that your opponent can see, and it's the kind of thing that, yeah, I mean, you can pressure your opponent into over defending, potentially over committing on defense.
Yeah.
It straightens the character, so that in itself is worth it. If you've got a 2-cost character that is bowed and leaving play, then there really is very little cost involved to. I mean, obviously, you're only going to get that character for a single turn, but you do get a straightened 4-cost character in play, which for a couple of fate is probably absolutely worth it.
So, if you have a 4-cost character in play that's bowed, you could replace them with this for 0 cost?
Yeah,
yes,
free.
if he's non-unique.
If not, yeah, if they're non-unique, yeah. So it's a really interesting and flavorful way to make non-unique characters a bit more relevant, or at least to make them more tempting to play. Because at the moment, there's, non-unique is basically a drawback. In fact, it is a drawback. So yeah,
it's a bit like seeing a character from the old game.
Yeah, that was interesting because Tyler was specifically talking about the old game because he got into Akodo Toturi, and he was specifically talking about how the portrayal of Toturi, the neutral Toturi, differs from the way that it was done in the old game. So in the old game, you would have new characters representing a kind of more experienced version, and part of that was you were able to play them essentially at a reduced cost by overlaying them over a previous version. Whereas with Toturi, the neutral Toturi, he just wanted to portray a different side. So the Lion Clan Champion Toturi is Toturi when he's focused on, working for the Lion's goals. Whereas the Emerald Champion Toturi is he's focusing on what's best for the Empire rather than what's best for the Lion. That approach differs to the old one, but this disguise trait looks a lot like the old XPing version, where you would you'd have your non-unique version of a character, and then you'd overlay your XP version of them. So I thought that similarity was quite interesting, especially just when it came up in the live stream. Do you think this is a good idea, Justin? You've got a lot of experience in the old game. Do you think this approach makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, the old experienced mechanic was pretty clunky, in fairness, because the interactions were so narrow. Like it had to be a specific named character that you overlaid with a more experienced version of that specifically named character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I never remember like if experiencing a character was good, it was generally a happy coincidence rather than mechanically designed. Whereas this is a much more consistent version of that mechanic, because any non-unique character can be this awesome character in disguise. So thematically, it makes quite a bit of sense, and obviously you get the dramatic reveal. And mechanically, it's just much cleaner and much more generally applicable. So it's altogether a better realization of the experiencing mechanic.
Yeah. And just when you mentioned it, there are a couple of interesting interactions and ways you can do it. Because I was just thinking that the Mirumoto Prodigy for the dragon always felt like it was the kind of base version of Mirumoto Hitomi. At least out of all the card pool that I saw in the base set, that was the kind of closest character I saw. So that's the 2-cost character that when they attack by themselves, you can only defend by themselves. But this is a nice opportunity where you can attack with the Mirumoto Prodigy and then overlay in whatever card that the dragon get that would be able to do that. That's an interaction that would work well. Similarly, the any of the effects that can kind of get you easily honored. So Brash Samurai for Crane is a good way for them to get a character honored, and then if they're able to overlay the disguised Bushi over that, they'd retain that status. So yeah, there's probably a couple of cool interactions. It'll be fun seeing what cards come out and what traits are specifically picked. But looking at this unicorn example, cavalry is a pretty broad one, so that is really cool.
Yeah, no, I like the mechanic a lot, and as I said, no, it introduces another level of bluff and consideration and resource management to the game, and yeah, I'm all for it. And because both players can see, it's arguably it's a lot more fair than, you know, a potentially blowout conflict character that your opponent doesn't know about.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really like the mechanic.
Just while we have it here with the new article, I'll make sure to add the image in later. We've got another example, which is the Lion Okoto Zentaro, which is a 3-cost, 3 military, 1 political, 2 glory Bushi commander, disguised Bushi. Action: during a conflict in which this character is attacking, choose a non-unique holding in the attacked province, gain control of that holding, and move it on to one of your unbroken non-stronghold provinces. If able, discarding each other card in that province, otherwise discarded. Wow. That's not great for the crab, is it?
He's really good, though. It is not great for the crab, but I think most clans have holdings that the lion could do with stealing.
Yeah.
That a lot of people have something that the lion will be like, you know what, I'd like that.
So Tyler was saying that he's expecting the Mirumoto Dojo and the Kikita Dojo to be quite popular with X. They're wonderful options for the line characters to steal. But this is a disguised Bushi, so they can attack with their 2-cost, 2/1 line characters that are everywhere, and just at the wrong time, or for their opponent, or the right time for the line, they can bring this guy into play. But he's telegraphed. He's going to be sitting in your provinces. You're definitely going to know he's there.
Yeah, but like the first turn, you both flip him. If you get a Kuni Lab, and he flips a Koda Zentaro, you don't have a lot of options. You're only some of the holdings blow up on demand, so you can still get some value out of them. You know?
Yeah, true. Well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. He does make kind of persistent holdings a bit more risky. That's for sure. Like I'm going to weep bitter tears the first time, and in fact every time he steals a Forgotten Library
or a Kanjo.
You can't steal a Kanjo. Non-unique.
Oh, it's non-unique. Okay.
Oh no, I'd flip the table if you stole a Kanjo.
All right.
2 glory as well, which is interesting, because if you can have a guy who's already honored, you can be like, cool, I bring him in, and that's a much bigger swing of him.
Okay, I'm going to quickly see if we have any other unicorn cards. I think we've got through the majority of the ones.
No, we missed
Ring of Binding.
The Ring of Binding.
Ring of Binding is very interesting.
Ring of Binding. I've completely missed that one, so I'll track it down later and add it in.
It's on Slack, Baz, if you look there.
Yeah, go tell me about it.
Ring of Binding is a 1-cost attachment. It is an item. It is Mei Shoto, so free discounts if you're high. During the Fate phase, if you are the first player, attached character cannot lose Fate or be discarded. If the Way of the Unicorn is with you, this is better than Reprieve. Well, it's sort of better than Reprieve. But
it's definitely better than Reprieve if the Way of the Unicorn is with you. I suppose, actually, yeah. I mean, you can still be assassinated or removed from play with a Noble Sacrifice, but...
So if it's the right turn when you drop it, it acts as essentially a reprieve, but it doesn't destroy itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, like, okay,
cannot lose Fate. Oh my god. So it's not just a discard. So if you drop it on like a 3 Fate character, they're around for 6 turns?
Just about, yeah. They're around forever. So, interesting.
Wow. That's not interesting. That's madness. That's straight up madness.
No, the unicorn badly needs some economic persistence and badly needs some economic edge. Having a key guy with something like that out is actually really important.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're the first player, no void ring. Can't be void ringed. So getting that character off the table is going to be tricky, to say the very least. So yeah, once again, we see that attachment control just becomes more and more important.
Yep. That is pretty scary.
Yep.
And let's go talk about some of the Crane cards. So we have a bunch revealed in this new one because Crane were doing pretty well in this particular one. Let's go straight to the big guy. So we're going to talk about... I have him here, don't I? Daidoji Uji. Yeah, I don't actually have him in this list for some reason. But again, I'll bring him in. So Owen, would you bring us through Daidoji Uji?
Absolutely. Daidoji Uji is a unique Crane Clan character. 5 cost, 6 military strength, 2 political strength, 2 glory, Bushi, Daimyo, Shinobi. While this character is honored, you may play each character in your provinces as if it were in your hand, reducing its cost by 1. He is ludicrous. He's one of those 5 costers who comes out, and once you honor him, which isn't super difficult with Crane, he completely changes the way you play the game.
Yeah.
If you can keep him in play, you can keep him honored. He's there. All of a sudden, he's just like, yeah, what's my first action? What's my first action to do to your face? It's pass. I'll make all this stuff later whenever I want.
So, Shadow Moon Dojo has been a problematic card, is a way that every other clan would talk about it. Like, if it flips first turn for Scorpion, they're laughing. Absolutely laughing. Is Uji worse?
He's way worse. He's 5 costs, so, he's not free. Once he's out,
after 2 turns, he pays for himself.
Absolutely. No, he's ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous. One of the things about him, though, is he is expensive, so that's one thing that kind of slows him down.
Yeah.
And he's a character, so there is more character hate than there is holding hate. However, he's far stronger in play because he's just going to be a monstrous pain. And also, he's off stat for Crane.
Yeah.
High military strength, low politics.
And a perfect jeweler for a chunk of jewels that they will be super interested in.
Absolutely. I mean, they love Uji as a character, and this is one of the best versions of Uji in any of the games ever. He really shapes the clan, and you feel like, wow, I'm playing an incredibly flexible... Like, charge is restricted. This guy's got charge, but stronger as a trait for all of your guys. It's crazy. You can put fate on them,
He is pretty fantastic. And, I mean, I'm delighted to see that Uji is this good. The art from is amazing. The card, the background, like, it all really, really comes together. So I'm thrilled for the Crane players, but I'm terrified to see what happens once this guy turns up on the table. All right, let's have a quick flick through and see what else we have. Justin, the next one is Kakita Favorite, who is a 2-cost Dynasty character. 3 military, 1 politics, Bushi duelist. This character gets +2 politics while it's involved in a duel. So it's a 2-cost 3/3 for dueling with?
Yeah. I'm not overwhelmed. I mean, it's fine, but it's only fine. Crane have a raft of far better 2-cost characters, and honestly, I mean, I really can't see most Crane players doing their political dueling with a 3-strength character. I think they'll either be, throwing their fans and whatnot on a better 3-cost character who can't be assassinated.
Yep.
Or they'll be going with the heavyweights like an honored Yoshi or something like that, who will just lay waste to all around him in political duels. So yeah, it's a very vanilla card. Not at all impressed.
Okay. And
I think their other 2 costs are just better. I mean, the brash samurai is better. The cautious scout is better. Yeah, not impressed with this guy really that much.
And yeah, we just saw a range of duelists at 2 cost, which are a bit risky, but at least you've got a duel on it, which will work quite well with the stronghold. All right, so let's skip us on to Kakita Yuri instead, which is a 3-cost 0/3 with 2 glory, courtier duelist, and has the ability action during a conflict, initiate a political duel against a character your opponent controls of his or her choice. Resolve the duel. The controller of the duel's loser cannot declare military conflicts this phase. What do you think, Justin?
Interesting character. Obviously, if you are the first player, if you are attacking into someone who has Yuri on the table, do not declare your political conflict first. Declare your military conflict first, so it can't be taken away.
Yep.
Obviously, you've got a little less choice in the matter if the Crane player is attacking you, if the Crane player is the first player, in which case, yeah, you could be in a bit of a bind.
You could always not defend.
You could always
not there.
You could always not defend. That is very true, and that is maybe what you'll have to do if you want to keep your military conflict that turn. So obviously, this can potentially have quite a severe impact on Hitomori Chiride players. So they'll need to be particularly careful. But yeah, it's good on half the turns. It's good when the Crane player is the first is the first player. Yeah. Not so great when the Crane player is the first player. So on that basis, is he going to see play? I'm really not sure. But yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. Not terrible.
All right. What do we have next in the Crane list? Oh, we had a province in there as well, didn't we?
Market of the Wind Kami, I think it was called.
Market of Kaze no Kami.
Oh, Kaze no Kami, was it?
Kaze no Kami. So it is a 3-province strength water province. It's a marketplace, and it has reaction after this province is revealed. Choose a character that is not honored. Bow that character. That's decent.
Super good.
But you're switching it out. You're switching out the new water province that we're getting in Children of
Rebels.
Empire. Yeah, which will trigger every time.
Yeah, but I mean the thing is that Crane, especially once Uji comes out, Crane will be playing big, heavy hitting characters. Like they play Yoshi, they play Uji, they still play Hataru. They've got Guest of Honor. I think the new 4-cost 0/0 Shigenja, who prevents characters from attacking or defending at all once you play a Crane character. Obviously, a character of, I think it's an equal or lower cost. I mean, there are, like, Crane have a lot of very, very powerful 4 and 5 cost characters.
Yeah.
So Rebels might not be great for them. Whereas something like this is probably a great deal more powerful.
Or they might have the option of going Seeker of Water instead.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Yeah, you absolutely could. Not sure I'd necessarily recommend it, but yeah, I mean, like it's a fine province. It's very much a tempo based province.
Yeah.
You want to be making sure that you are going over there and busting your opponent's face, and that basically you're hoping that this province is going to defend itself. And that being the case, it's going to defend itself for a single turn. So you better be making sure that you're taking advantage of that tempo. If your deck is not built in that way, it's not a good province. But if you are an aggressive deck, yeah, I think that's definitely worth consideration.
Alrighty. Any comments yourself on it, Owen? Or will we skip on to another card?
It's decent. Might season play. It's always good to have options, and the clan restricted ones can be interesting. I was there at the Spear Rushes 4th, which is the main philosophy card.
Yeah.
Which is 1 cost and 4 influence.
Ooh.
Action during a military conflict, discard an honor token from a participating friendly character and choose a character your opponent controls. Bow that character.
Ooh. So you give up your honored status from a participating character. Okay, so that's going to mean it back. You're probably looking at least a +2 bonus. You're paying 1 fate, but you get to bow someone.
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
It is very good.
Especially if you've got an effect to honor them up again. Like if you've got a honored character who you can then duel with afterwards and still be confident. You can then bow your stronghold and re-honor that character. Yeah, this looks good. I love the
I
art.
like battle actions. I like battle actions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's super good. It's the version of Admit Defeat. I mean, not without its opportunity cost, but yeah, it's very, very good. I think it'll see quite a bit of play.
All right. So I think those are all the cards that we've seen revealed on the stream.
No, there was one other.
Yep. The one
I don't have the specific wording on it.
I do have it here. So it's Daimyo's
Oh, you do?
Gunbai.
Gunbai, yeah.
So it's weird because it's a zip cost attachment. It's +2/+2. It is an item. It is restricted, which is interesting. Oh, these are weapons. So this is a Warfan of some sort, is it?
Warfan.
It's a bigger Warfan, yeah.
And it is action. During a conflict, if this card is in your hand, reveal it and initiate a military duel against a character your opponent controls of his or her choice. Resolve the duel. Put this card into play attached to the duel's winner if able, otherwise discard it. So it's an extra duel action. It's pretty cool. It's a military duel, and essentially the winner is going to get a +2/+2 attachment. That seems cool. For free, I guess.
It's good value in the new Crane box because you want ways to generate duels, and that's a way to generate duels.
And then it'll set them up for more duels, and they'll have their honor status as well at that point. Yeah, this is an interesting idea. Obviously, if you lose, then your opponent gets this card instead attached to them.
Yep. But that's, so you want to make sure this is a duel you're not going to lose. But yeah, I mean, the vision of Kakita Toshimoko honored wielding multiple gunbys, defending, the Crane player stronghold is that's not something I will see across the table from me.
Sad.
Yeah, very.
And this, of course, it is a unique card, so you can only have one in play. Whether that's the one that you've ended up on your opponent's characters or your own characters, you can only have one. They changed the rules on those uniques, though, I think. So if you have one on if one of your opponent's ones is on yours, I think you can play one on your own, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think they changed it.
Yeah. So interestingly, if you've got one in play already, you can you play this card? I think you can, because you would be then unable to attach it to the winner and you'd have to discard it, but it would still initiate a duel. Anyway, we'll leave that for the for the lawyers.
Absolutely, for the accumulated rulings.
There are a few other cards that we already know from the Crane packs and the Unicorn packs. Are there any in particular we want to go through? Maybe not.
No, we'll
what we might
leave them for a more thorough review when the time is close.
What I would like to do is have a quick look at this card that's just hit the previews. So this is Hantai Satori. So this is a 4-cost character. So this is coming up in the new pack. So what's this pack? This is
the inheritance cycle. It is for the Empire.
For the Empire. So obviously this is the Crown Prince, the heir to the throne. And if you've been keeping up with the stories, we've had some exciting stuff going on there. We're checking out. Dave Latteroot has been doing a fantastic job. But it's finished up now. We've got that cycle, and we're waiting to see how it plays out.
Okay. The 3 stories have come up, which have set up the cycle.
So Hantai Satori is a 4-cost character with 4 military, 3 political, and 3 glory. He is a Bushi, Imperial, and Crown Prince. He has pride. So if he wins a conflict, he gets honored, and if he loses a conflict, he gets dishonored, which makes sense if you read the story. He has action. During a military conflict in which this character is participating, choose a participating character. That character gets +3 glory until the end of the conflict. So if he's targeting an honored character, they're going to get +3/+3. If he's targeting a dishonored character, they're going to get -3/-3. That seems pretty good.
He's amazing. He could do it to himself, so he could just as good as his dad. Just as good.
Oh, he'll be better, surely. He'll be.
Yeah,
He'll
he'd be
actually
a
have stats.
10. Yeah, I mean, like if he's honored and he targets himself, he's going to be a 10-9 before other considerations. Now that's a dueling machine.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, no one dares to get the future emperor.
yeah, I mean, as much as he may be an incompetent crybaby in the story, like 10-9 is 10-9 from a 4-cost character is nothing to sniff at.
When it's all going well, it's nothing to sniff at.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
I mean,
wrong.
when it's going wrong, it's going horribly wrong. But
Which is, I think, a really good design for this guy.
yeah, he needs ears, whiskers, and kind of Skaven name. He is literally the embodiment of the Skaven.
Yeah. But
Sorry.
like he's got a lot more like utility than just a stat boost. I mean, you take this with the Haughty Magistrate, and you're suddenly dropping +3 glory onto the Haughty Magistrate. That's nasty. Or you drop him into a Scorpion deck, and the clan champion is basically point and clicking to kill people in political duels who are dishonored, because this is a -3/-3. Then add in Shoju's it was -1/-1 and kill.
Yeah, no, I think he's amazing. I think he's really, really good.
And yeah, 4 cost. Wow.
When you take a look, like, again, Isao Morishita for the Phoenix, he is a slightly more limited, but also slightly better version of that ability. So,
He's
and when you see some of the other cards that are coming up in this set, I mean, one of the things that that Tyler was saying is this set is going to feature. Is going to focus quite heavily on Bushi, which again has been the red-headed stepchild of character traits so far. I mean, courtiers have their good thing. Shugenja have tons of stuff that they're great at, but Bushi has been sorely neglected. So so Tyler did say to look forward to an awful lot of very, very good Bushi cards, and yeah, if Satori is the kind of quality that we have to look forward to, I'm very excited.
Just having a quick flick through some of the other cards spoiled in this recent article, which looks like it's definitely worth a read.
Yes.
Explains disguise very well.
But yeah, we've got a lot of extra Bushi cards, which is really cool.
Include the Fifth Tower Watch, which I'm rather excited about.
Fifth Tower Watch. All right, tell us about them.
They are a 5-cost Crab Clan non-unique character. 5 military strength, 4 political strength, 1 glory, Bushi and army, no attachments except weapon, which is just a benefit most of the time.
Yep.
Interrupt, when you sacrifice a character, choose an opponent. That opponent must choose a character he or she controls with lower military skill than the sacrificed character. Bow that character.
Awesome.
I like them a lot.
So as long as you've got a sacrifice effect and something to sacrifice, it's a point and click bow.
Well, they pick who bows, but you can influence who bows by being careful about who you pick for the sacrifice effect. So there's actually additional bits of skill test on that, where you can be like, actually, I picked this 2-cost guy, so you're 2 military guy, so you've got to bow a 1 military guy or less, and I know which 1 military guy you have. So you can't just auto use it. You have to be careful about what you use it with. You can actually get the right guy with it sometimes, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's actually for targeting the small guys and not the big guys.
Well, you can target the big guys sometimes, but it's mostly that, it's Crab making efficient use of resources, and, well, I'm going to sacrifice guys anyway, so let's sacrifice the right guy and make your life a bit hard. And you can choose when to trigger the interrupt, so that's all good. And that's another one where smuggling deal will be good, because getting a second use out of that can work.
Yeah, that's true.
Super good. I mean, and the implications for Way of the Crab are not insignificant.
Yeah.
Because you can put your opponent in, or you can potentially put your opponent in a bind as the character they keep and the character they sacrifice. And one of the underrated elements of this card, underrated, it's only just come out, it's only just been previewed, but for politics in Crab is a jaw-dropping number for them. So yeah, I expect these guys to see significant time on the field. They're great, and I love the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork's lovely. Actually, lovely use of color there.
Notable for me is the Phoenix card Purity of Spirit, which is an event action during a conflict. Choose participating Bushi character, honor that character. At the end of the conflict, discard any status tokens on it. So, notably, this is Bushi based, and it's actually only one influence, which is really cool. So if obviously you may or may not find this particular card useful, but it is a card that looks for the Bushi trait and likes it. Similarly, we've got another one. It's a neutral event, Perfect Cut. Action during a military conflict. Choose participating Bushi character. That character gains +2 military until the end of the conflict, and if it wins the conflict, honor it. Yeah, I'm loving this. More Bushi cards, please.
Absolutely.
So this is something that John gave out to me today about, because I'd been saying how a lot of Scorpion players are complaining that the Infiltrator's tools is useless because Shinobi are useless, and they're not necessarily wrong. But I made the point that monks weren't great for Dragon until things happened, until they got a few cards, and similarly, Infiltrator tools is the first step in the Shinobi becoming a viable trait. But weirdly enough, Bushi, a trait that's been around for ages, hasn't really had that. So the characters have been... we've had For Greater Glory, I think, and...
Rout.
There is Rout.
The awesome powerhouse of Rout.
What's the back banner that doesn't see flame line? Sashimono, which hopefully we'll see a little bit more play with Suko's ability.
Suko might help that along. Yeah, she might help it along.
Obviously, you're really dependent on how the attachment control metagame works, but I think that'll be a cool addition if it works out for line, because it certainly seems to line up. But yeah, more Bushi cards will be incredibly cool. And to all the Scorpion players out there, I sincerely hope we get a lot more cool Shinobi cards, and the quality of Shinobi cards improves, because I definitely want to see Shinobi deck out there. All right. Yeah, we've had a lot of good stuff appear just today. It's been a busy day.
Yeah. Bumper crop.
Justin, you wanted to remind us about the Elemental Challenge in Limerick coming up.
Yeah, that's right. So on February the 23rd in Thomond Park in Limerick, the spiritual home of Irish rugby, an amazing venue, there will be an Elemental Championships. So if you're in the vicinity for that weekend, it's a fantastic venue. It's an Elemental Championships. Come down, get your full art Banzais, your full art Provinces, your full art Imperial Palace, and just play a bunch of games of L5R and have a good time. So that 23rd of February, so a couple of weeks' time.
And you're going to be there, right, Justin?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
And
I'm going to go down, Baz, if you want to grab a lift.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, we're all in. We're all in.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. Can't wait to see you guys in person again.
All right. Owen, do we have a Beaver fact?
Do we have a Beaver fact? My God, it's been so long. Didn't someone send someone in, or do you guys use that one?
Wait, I used that one. Yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, yeah, it's been so long. Like, the Beaver facts must have been piling up.
Oh.
It must be like a fresh storehouse of Beaver facts.
And we did miss a few of them as well, actually, which is kind of bad. While we're waiting for that to get pulled out, I will say I really enjoyed some of the commentary that Tyler gave us on the design decisions. So, for example, he did talk about the Emperor and how he wanted this to be a completely badass character, but wanted to get across the idea that the Emperor doesn't get involved in the nitty gritty in the political things. But if you're good, he might give you some favors in the vein of the abilities that he has, which bow that character. That's a censure. No, let's redirect that ability. That's the subtle influence and the power that he has.
Yeah.
And also the discussion that was there with Composure, how the bid 5 meta is there. This is a little bit of an incentive, and I honestly don't think that this Children of the Empire is designed to immediately switch us to, you know, a bid 1 or a bid 3 or even really shake it up. We might still end up in a heavy bid 5 meta after this, with the occasional bid 4, with people messing around if they want to play with Composure. But the intention is that we get a little bit of Composure in to kind of incentivize mixing up the bids. And personally, I'm gonna be meddling around with Mirumoto's Daisho and Good Omens and Warm Welcomes and as much shenanigans as I can to see how crazy we can get. But that's the Mirumoto in me. Do you have something for us, Owen?
I do. Appropriately for Valentine's Day, beavers are monogamous and mate for life. And generally, the entire family unit lives in a single dam that is usually built by a single male or a newly formed unit.
All right. Very thematic. Well done. All right. We'll wrap us up here, I think. And I'll get this up online as fast as we can. So thank you for listening to episode 44 of Imperial Advisor. You can check out our content on imperialadvisor.com. Specifically, we have the Children of the Empire review up there, but there's tons of other articles that are worth checking out. You can keep up to date with Imperial Advisor on Facebook and on Twitter, and we will be back in another 2 weeks, and I hope you'll join us then. Have a great one.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.